Welcome to the Evolution Live series. We have our very first live show from a manufacturing facility, COCO Labs.
So my family's in the grocery business. That's what we do. We have 11 stores in Northeast and North Central Missouri, and my father started the grocery chain, and then I went to work for them. My background is retail grocery.
I recently graduated from Mizzou. That's actually where me and Dylan met. Basically, I was a plant science major there. We both emphasized, we're both plant science majors, but I'll let Dylan speak for himself. But we emphasized in breeding, biology, biotechnology. So my true specialty is definitely cultivation. But obviously I have a good chem background through that plant science progress. But basically knew I was getting into cannabis about 2017. And then from there it kind of took off. Had an internship out in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And me and Dylan grew about 60 acres of hemp together the past summer as we were writing applications.
In a prior life before cannabis, I worked in oil and gas. I was a rig manager for BP, and 2013 I got into the industry as an investor. The more I got involved with building out, it was on the manufacturing side, extraction side in Colorado. The more I got involved, the more I found out that there's a lot of similarities between oil and gas extraction and cannabis extraction and hydrocarbons and hazardous work environments. So landed here in Kansas City. I have family here and ended up writing some applications with a bunch of good people, a lot of licensed winners, and found a great home with COCO, and very happy to be working in operations here.
We're all about Missouri. All of our dispensaries and this lab, everything you see, it was touched by Missouri hands. Moberly, Hannibal, and Chillicothe are our 3 dispensaries. We're in smaller markets, but we felt really strongly that, people outside of Kansas City, St. Louis, Columbia, Springfield deserved a chance and easy access to their medicine. So we only focused on this region.
We had to get suited up, full body suits, hair nets, the booties over the feet, masks, and you don't have to necessarily do this in all the manufacturing facilities. It's not a DHSS requirement, but you guys have a special certification. Can you explain more what that certification is and how you guys went about getting that?
Federally speaking, what we're doing is still illegal, so there's no FDA involved in the cannabis industry at this point in time. Operating your business according to GMP standards will put you in compliance with the FDA. It's something that we're forward thinking on. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. And if things keep progressing on a federal level as far as cannabis goes with the Banking Act and things becoming federally decriminalized or things, it's definitely a situation where we want our facility to be compliant 2 years in the future, 5 years in the future, et cetera. And then all the products we carry, get stamped with a GMP logo on it. And it's a communication to the consumers that, the products we make are safe, reliable, and are produced in a very clean environment. So yeah, this is our biomass storage room where we also handle all of our dry goods. So basically anytime we're intaking cannabis, whether it's going to be used for pre-rolls or further prepared for extraction, this is the area where we intake everything. We sort it, weigh it out. That's where our intake process and transfer manifests all get validated. And then any product that is going to be used for extraction goes into cryo freezers. These freezers actually go to negative 80 degrees. We identify basically every metric that would be important for us to know where this material came from and when we received it. That way all that information can flow through on the product, and that's a big part of the GMP process. This
is our pre-roll machine. It does about 454 joints in about 2 minutes. You'll see it shaking, you'll see the bud falling through, and then it will give us our even pack that we are shooting for.
So this is what we're currently using is a hydrocarbon butane extraction system. This is from Open Source Steel. It's a closed loop system. We lose about probably 2 to 3% solvent per run, but very efficient in recollecting and keeping the environment safe without exposing that solvent to the air. In this video here, basically you're seeing all of our ethanol side of the equipment and the production of products. So ethanol, our ethanol system will create all our tinctures, our RSO, our vape cartridges, and all of our edibles. Eventually you're left with the oil in the end. The oil is then transferred to our DR10, also by TrueSteel, where we go through the decarboxylation process where we actually activate the cannabinoids within that oil to allow the absorption within the human endocannabinoid system.
The big fear and what hits the news is when people are doing open blasting or they're trying to do a home extraction kit. Inevitably a spark or a flame causes an ignition or an explosion, and that's worst case scenario. We want to do everything we can to avoid that. So instead of your standard outlets, you have to have these special C1D1 or C1D2 outlets or equipment, just like this camera. You can't have a standard camera in there, and the reason that orange cylinder over it makes it intrinsically safe, which means it's impossible for a spark or an arc or anything to ignite any flammable substance within the room. Right here we're at our winterization station. So in our processes, mostly if say we're going to take our cannabis oil to the distillate level for vapes, winterization is just another process for pulling out fats and lipids, additional filtration. So vac ovens, pretty standard product in the industry. So it's basically an oven, but it's under vacuum, so negative pressure, and that's the process, especially for hydrocarbon extracted oil. Dylan's holding up a slab right there. That's still warm and still kind of soft in nature. But when you winterize it, you pull out those fats and lipids, and it's kind of like the fat in a steak. It's some of the flavor, but it's going to keep it pliable. That blue box to the right of it is actually a cold trap or a terpene trap. And so this is an opportunity for us to actually capture those terpenes to be reintroduced into the product or to reintroduce to a terpene-less product, say like distillate. You're losing a lot of that flavor along the way.
Yeah, so it's called Taffy Tech, and basically we're pulling the oil apart to kind of agitate it and introduce some oxygen into it, and that kind of brings out a different color in it once it gets agitated.
That was the last step right before it turns into crumble on its last set in the oven.
Yeah.
So the one to the left didn't go through the CRC. That's why it's darker in color. The one in the middle went through the CRC, and that's why it has that lighter color. So the third one is what would have came out after that last batch, the sheet that you were holding up. If you had done the Laffy Taffy pull, whatever it's called, and put it back in the oven, eventually it's going to come out to look like that. The other manufacturers who have come out, it's primarily edibles and some cards, right? So
Sure.
why not go that route? Because from what I understand, you can produce a lot more gummies with X amount of product than you can with these particular styles of concentrates. Is that correct?
Well, that's 100% correct, and I completely understand why manufacturers are just doing the gummy route. And not to interrupt, but just being in the dispensaries as much as I am, and I think most of the dispensary owners out there would agree with me. Besides vapes, I bet probably 15 times a day we get asked, when are you getting concentrates? When are we getting concentrates? We took our time. We want people to know that you're about to get a really good quality product, and we have ran it through. It went through testing 3 times basically before it came to Missouri.
Missouri did right by the patients and making it difficult for manufacturers. Like, you got to be low on your residual solvents. It's got to be a clean product, and we really try to go the extra step to make sure it's as low as possible. In other states, talking about residual solvents, some states have that maximum threshold acceptable limits at 5,000, and Missouri's at 500.
So 5,000 other states, 500 Missouri, and you guys pulled in a whopping 50 on that one.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. And not only that, but you guys are working with Kansas City Cannabis Company on a patient-focused program, and they're going to be offering F.E.C.O at cost to patients in need starting in May when they get that product. So, which is amazing to me. I mean, obviously everybody's invested all these dollars, so for them to be able to provide that at cost and not make any money off of it, it speaks volumes for that organization. It speaks volumes for you guys to want to roll that product out, because I mean, that's you guys. If you took that same product that at X amount of trimming to make that product,
made a lot of
you could have
gummies out
made
of it.
thousands of gummies, right?
For sure.
Thousands of gummies, and made a lot more money than making the F.E.C.O, right? But it's really important because that's like the medicine that the people who are in the worst condition need the most, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They're basically 1 gram syringes. They're glass. They come in sealed packages, very, very hygienic. Basically, how we get F.E.C.O in there, they have these disposable tips. So we would insert it into the vat of F.E.C.O, draw up the proper amount within the syringe, and then take off the disposable tip there and put on the sealed tip. So it's a clean product, never been touched. You can put that directly into your mouth if you're ingesting it orally.
How many gummies do you think you can make with what it took to make that?
So if we're talking about milligrams, in that 1 gram, we got 1,000 milligrams there. Okay, so if we were talking on the gummies side, if we're talking 100 milligram packs of gummies, we could have made 10 packs compared to where these products will sell at. You're basically making 10 times the money.
Yeah. Do your investors know that you're doing this?
They do. Yeah, it's certainly something that we're not dedicating all of our output to it. We do have to make money. Certainly, Brooke knows this better than anyone. Over the last 2 years, all we do is spend money. We've spent millions of dollars, but we certainly have not forgotten about the reason for cannabis, medical cannabis in Missouri. Patients need medicine. This is a medical product, and we want to keep that in focus.
A lot of people wanted these licenses, and we were fortunate enough to get some, and so we need to be every day humbled and grateful for the opportunity we've been given, and it's just one small way to give back, and we wanted to be a part of it. We have paired with a local baker. That's another thing I'm super excited about. She lives in Shelbina, which is another tiny town. That's where I grew up, 10 miles from here, and she's kind of a little famous around here for these cookies. So we have paired with her, and she is teaching our staff how to make them, and then these two sitting here will infuse them.
They're sort of like Pringles. Once you pop, you can't stop.
No, you can't.
You can't just have one. But we're looking forward to that product. When can we expect this in our dispensaries?
Once again, probably May.
Yeah.
Probably May.
Yeah, once we get some distillate and nano-emulsify it, but they'll be in packs of 6, 10 milligrams each, so a pack will be 60 milligrams.
There'll be a variety of pack of flavors. The one plug for COCO dispensaries that I have to say is I realize that we're off the beaten path up here in North Missouri, but you won't be disappointed. Come check us out. Our dispensaries are beautiful, and everybody that comes in, you're going to feel welcome, you're going to feel comfortable, and we're super proud of our dispensary staff, and they're advocates for the patient and for the plant, and very excited about their job, and we just have some great people up here, and so come check us out.